Mr. Chandra Mishra is a social entrepreneur. He's also amongst the very early proponents of citizen journalism in India. And for a very long time, he has been a campaigner of a nationwide movement of employment generation and alternative employment policy. He has been working for decades to create practical and policy based solutions to generate employment. And one such unique effort of his is Beggars Corporation under the Common Man Trust, which is perhaps the first of its kind social impact startup, which is working towards converting beggars into entrepreneurs. The social enterprise is aiming to channelize donations into impact investment. In fact, that's the tagline: do not donate, do invest, by training and handholding beggars to become entrepreneurs. He's also the co-founder and CEO of Lucknow Startup School, which is based in Lucknow, which aims to organize the vast unorganized sector of the state through more than 200 startups. And in the past, he has worked at state and national level with multiple state governments as well on employment-related policies and missions. And that is, I think, just a very brief introduction, because I think for the amount of work that he's been doing relentlessly for over 2-3 decades, I think I can only summarize. And I'm looking forward to this conversation to shed more light on this work that you're doing. And maybe the first question that I'll ask you is from your own words, if you can talk about yourself and your journey.
First of all, I am a common man, and I take pride in it that I am a common man. But there is one difference. I can tell that here is a common man who speaks, unlike the common man who was not and is not speaking for decades. So that is the basic difference. I am in short the common man. I was a journalist earlier. So we started this as a common man's newspaper. And the two things we introduced: we empowered every reader of ours with a People's Journalist card. We are issuing him, we issued them cards. We gave them 4 postcards a month, and we empowered them to report from their areas. The idea was that the common man can directly reach the offices where they are getting their works obstructed or neglected, and that worked to some extent. The number 2 experiment was that instead of imposing our ideas or our views as editorial on the reader, we were talking to people. We were selecting one issue, public issue, which was suppose something is the main issue of the state or of the area. Then on the basis of that issue, we were selecting one person who is impacted by the issue or somehow related to the issue. Whether he or she is educated or not, that doesn't matter. Our journalists were talking to them. If they are uneducated, then we are recording our conversation, and we are reproducing it in the front page as People's Editorial. We called it Lok Sampadaki, People's Editorial. And we were declaring that person as the People's Editor of the day, Aaj ka Lok Sampadak. So that was how I started my journey. So I always believe, because you are starting dialogue, I believe dialogue is democracy. I believe voice is development. The quality of our voice determines the quality of our development. The small towns or the rural areas or the villages, they don't get that kind of priority or that kind of importance in our policy making process because our voices are not heard in the corridors of power. So the moment we strengthen our voice and make it heard at the proper platform, specifically in the corridors of power or corridors of policy making, then I believe the real democracy can come. The of by for the people. If some conscious people, not all should raise their voice, I know it's impractical, but when the conscious voices they come together to create a collective voice and they engage in a healthy dialogue with the stakeholders, then only we can initiate the process of democratization of development. We call it democracy. It can really happen only when we raise our voice. Over to you, Tarun.
Yes. Now, I would invite you to talk about initiative that you have started in Varanasi, and congratulations that it has also been recognized as a social impact industry recently. So, if you can talk about the vision, the mission, the action that is happening to make this a reality. We've read about it, but it will be really great to hear about it from you. That what does Beggars Corporation seek to achieve and how it is doing it?
Beggars are the symbols only, I can say, because when we talk about the bottom of the pyramid in economy, we never think of beggars who don't have any means or who don't have a place to stay. They're not even taken as citizens. I believe probably no city ever takes beggars as citizens even. And I believe one thing, that whatever democratic rights or human rights we may say, unless until someone is independent economically, he or she can no way be counted in the society as somebody existing with dignity, and forget about raising his voice. If we don't accept his existence, how can we accept his voice? So everything starts from that economic, the strengthening the basic economic rights, not the needs. I'm not talking about the needs, the basic rights. And economy means market. Market makes somebody poor or somebody rich. Till date, what we were thinking of, that if somebody is poor, give them something free. If somebody is poor, give them some subsidy. So we were trying to make them beggars. In last 75 years after independence, we only made people beggars and created a kind of poverty trap. We never consciously tried to make them self-sufficient. We talked about livelihood. We never talked about creating wealth and becoming owners of the wealth. So this is for the first time when I came to Varanasi. And we launched that mission on Employment Free Varanasi. My mission to come to Varanasi was that to create a model which can pave the way what should be the right employment policy for India. That's why I came there. And we launched mission on Employment Free Varanasi in June 2021. Before coming to Varanasi, I had never seen Varanasi. I was not acquainted with, I didn't know anybody there. So it was a strange city for me. But I decided the economy of India is Mumbai centric. And when I thought of Varanasi, Varanasi was a spiritual city. Is a spiritual city. We all know it. And scholars, means even from Buddhadev to Madan Mohan Malaviya, they all came to Varanasi. BHU was started there as the alternate education system during British rule. Buddhadev also came there, and I accept Buddhism as an economic policy or an economic theory, because Buddha says how to control our greed, concentrate on our need to be happy. In order to be happy, we need to control our greed. If Mumbai represents greed, then Varanasi represents paying back to the society. That's why I decided to come here. And the second point was that Varanasi has no major industry. It's in Purbanchal of Uttar Pradesh, and Purbanchal of Uttar Pradesh is specifically based on agriculture. They are based on agriculture. They are based on forest, or say spiritualism. So these kind of things. So it's not mainstay of economy. It's not mainstay of economy. So I came there. And when and our entire focus is the unorganized sector. The unorganized sector, which employs 83% of our manpower. That is our focus, because if they get sustainable and sufficient earning, then automatically the income gap will be reduced and economy can be equitable. And coming there, we started working with the street food vendors. We worked with the weavers, specifically the handloom weavers, not the powerloom weavers, the handloom weavers, the artisans. We worked with farmers in a village, and then it was not our conscious effort, but somehow or other it developed that we became, say, we started working with the beggars. Because coming to Varanasi, I was staying near the Ghat. And on the very day, the first day, when I wanted to go to Kashi Vishwanath temple for darshan of Baba, before I reach before I reach Kashi Vishwanath temple, I could have darshan of hundreds of beggars. Before having darshan of the God, I could have darshan of hundreds of beggars. And that didn't move me. What moved me, that among the beggars, there were hundreds of children, those who were begging. Some in the Sankar avatar, some in Ganga avatar. They are dressed and with they are dressed like Bhavan Sith. Somebody is dressed like Ma Ganga, and they were begging. And I saw the tourists coming from the foreign lands. They were taking selfies with them. Recently, even the German ambassador took selfie with one such boy, and he tweeted it. It was news everywhere. So we thought, if beggars can be entrepreneurs, if beggars can work, become self-sufficient, owner, creator, and owner of wealth, then obviously no government can ever say that it's impossible to give jobs to everybody. That means government cannot give jobs to everybody, we know it, but government can facilitate it. Government is the facilitator. So we wanted to show where lies the difference, and we worked with the beggars. And for your information, though initially at the experimental stage we started it under Common Man Trust, Beggars Corporation is now registered as a for-profit company on 12th August 2022. This year, on 12th August, it is registered as a for-profit company, and on 26th of October, it got recognition from DPIIT of the central government as a social impact industry. So the beggars there, at this moment, 12 beggar families are working with us. And for your information, before we registered Beggars Corporation, starting from October 2021 till July end of 2022, they did a business of more than 27 lakhs. And for your information, the ruling party BJP, for its national executive meeting in Delhi, they also procured conference laptop bags from us. That was the motto, the tagline, as you said, that don't donate, invest. That is the way. And we are turning donations into investments. Here, I will beg to I say, because as far as the data of Bill Gates, Melinda Gates Foundation, that was the data of 2017. Indians every year, Indians means the ordinary Indians, not the corporate houses, not the governments. They donate on an average 34,000 crore every year. And as far as the government data is concerned, the data tabled in Parliament in 2019 March by the then Social Justice and Empowerment Minister Thorchand Gehlot, India has 4,13,000 odd beggars. So if we take it as 5 lakh beggars, And as far as our make a beggar self-sufficient once for all, we need maximum 1.5 lakh. That means with 7,500 crore, we can make India begging free once for all. But we Indians, we ordinary Indians, we donate every year 34,000 crore. And still then begging or the number of beggars are growing instead of coming down. So I request everybody, instead of donating fund to means donating money to the beggars or anybody in need, we must try to make him self-sufficient. So we must invest our money, we must invest our time, and we must invest our social commitment to get the desired result in a permanent nature once for all.
It'll be really great if you could maybe talk briefly about how it looks like for one of those beggar families that you're working with. You said there are 12 families. So I think just to put it on a human scale, so that our audience can relate to what you're doing. I've seen photos and I've read about it. Maybe you can just very briefly give that how it was before, how it was during when your interaction began, and how maybe the thinking, the attitude towards life, how that that
if you can see, let me show. If you can see, let me show you some photographs here. See, this is one lady beggar who is learning that tailoring in our workshop. Okay, and see, in our workshop, she is learning, and she was begging. See, here you can see that she was begging with her child, child.
And she's the same person who was on the
same.
And now,
and I can also and here also that you can see that one begging on the street. So this is the journey.
So in a way that people who are probably spending hours of their maybe 8 hours or 10 hours or maybe a lot of more hours, they were probably sitting while begging. Those hours have been transformed into a workshop or into a school, and now they are, instead of begging, they are learning these skills. Is that how? So do you?
I don't know what is the minimum salary structure there in Uttarakhand. I don't know. But all those 12 lady beggars working in our workshop are getting 10,000 per month.
Yes,
they are getting 10,000 per month. But I have a target that they should get 15,000 per month. But I am not able to meet that target. But they are getting 10,000 per month.
Okay.
And Delhi, we are selling on an average 1,000 to 1,200 bags, shopping bags.
Okay.
So every day on an average, we are selling bags worth 20,000 in a small patch.
Okay.
From Dasasamed Ghat to Godolia Chauraha.
Okay.
It's a small patch of 200 meters or 250 meters. So the shops there, specifically, we are having a tie-up with the business association there, and they are taking the bags, the shopping bags, and it's a replacement of plastic, so that we are also doing the eco-friendly work. We are also simultaneously doing eco-friendly work. So means the kind of bags we are creating are serving two distinct purposes. One is begging-free city, another is plastic-free city.
There are a couple of things that we've been trying to understand through various conversations from various people who are working in smaller cities, and the problems are similar in most of the cities, but in some cities there are some solutions that work. In some cities some solutions are initiated, in others they are not, and we are trying to understand that if there are any reasons that the city itself has as a place, and because of its people, that allow those changes to occur. don't know whether like if this was something that was to be done in some other city, and because you have worked in multiple places and you've been working in this domain about alternate employment policies and thinking of employment um, as a means of bringing people out of this poverty trap.
Yeah.
What like do you have any observations about Varanasi as a city and the people that you have in Vanaras uh, who are making this possible uh, to realize the vision of Beggars Corporation? Like, are there any specific
I
factors that
have
Banaras as a city uh, is allowing you to do this?
uh, before coming to Banaras, let me compare the cities, the metros and the smaller cities. I have worked in Delhi, I have worked in Bangalore, and uh, I really came from a village and grew up in a smaller city. I was educated also in the smaller cities. So my study, my growing up, all over in the smaller cities like Katak, Bhubaneswar, and I worked in different smaller cities also, like Raipur, Karnal of Haryana, the constituency of the Chief Minister. I have worked in different smaller cities in Karnataka also, like Mysore, like Davangere. So one thing is very sure that in smaller cities, since the city is small, people very easily people know about each other, whether they have seen you or not. That's another part. But if you do something good or bad, easily the word of mouth spreads very easily. So that is one thing. In the bigger cities, like I have come from Delhi, nobody cares about you, whatever you are. Even if you are a Nobel laureate, nobody cares about you. Nobody cares about you. The same thing also happens in Bangalore. Nobody cares about you. Once you venture out and reach Mysore, reach smaller cities, immediately people take note of you. People can oppose you, people can support you. Either way. And as far as Varanasi is concerned, Varanasi has a complete different characteristic. Because number one, for ages together, the main soul of the city was spirituality. So city was well habituated with the people coming from outside. Sorry to say, but there are very less people you will find those who are typically original Banarasi, and they have made any say anything bigger or yeah. There are certainly like Sarod player that Vikas Maharaj is there. I am talking about the people who are alive. There were also people like Premchand there. But simultaneously also you got Buddhadev there, you got Shankaracharya there. Even before that you got Harishchandra there. So you got Madan Mohan Malaviya there to set up BHU. And you got the Prime Minister also from outside to come and contest there and win. So it has always accepted people coming from outside. Every year you will find 1 crore footfall. People coming from outside, 1 crore tourists coming from outside. And Banaras has three different characteristics. One is Kasi. Kasi is all about spiritualism. Another is Banaras. Banaras is all about culture, the gharanas, the culture, BHU, Buddhadev, all these kind of things. And then comes Varanasi. Varanasi is a completely commercial aspect of this city. So Varanasi means your hotels, your tourists, your market, your Banarasi sari, so all these kind of things. So it's a It's a kind of a unique city where you will find the 3,000-year-old spiritualism, 1,000-year-old culture, and the most modern commercialism. Three things intermingled. And there is another aspect in Varanasi. People become happy easily. They don't need much money. So that is what Varanasi is. People become happy easily. There is number three. It's both good and bad, you can say. Everybody in Banaras are good. You cannot go and tell somebody something and he will accept it. No. Each and everybody will argue with you. The good thing is that I can say, I don't say that they have ego. I say they have their sense of dignity. Unlike smaller cities, what we do, if somebody has come from a bigger city, then what we do, somebody has come from Delhi and going to Dehradun or going to Nainital, and he is saying that I have come from Delhi, I have come from Mumbai, then we become very conscious. But people of Banaras, they never become conscious. That's a good thing. And we must learn from them.
You were also referring to previously about that you're working with business associations and others. So maybe can you talk about how the various there are various entities, various actors within the city. So this is a huge enterprise. Like even though you said that it is in size that you're working with 12 families, but even for making this happen for those 12 families, it requires a huge ecosystem. So in a city's context like Banaras, what does this ecosystem look like? Like starting from like there are some parts that you are doing, then there are market linkages, then there are I'm sure like so what are those different actors and what do they look like?
Let me explain how much I owe to the city. We have a 3-story building there. We are working in that building, but we are not giving 1 rupee rent even there. The entire building is of another NGO, another NGO owned by a localite, and it's a famous NGO, and they gave us the entire building. Number 2, we are having one workshop there at the ghats. I'm not even paying the electricity rent. Forget about rent of the house. I'm not even paying 1 rupee even electricity rent. That was also given by people. There are 10 machines earlier. I have not bought a single machine for my workshop. There are 12 machines. 10 machines were earlier there. It is there. And 2 machines, two interlock machines we needed because to create the bags, etc. for its quality. And that also we got from another person. And let me tell you how we started Beggars Corporation. There you can see how the people come forward to help you. We are having one workshop there at the ghats. I'm not even paying the electricity rent. Forget about rent of the house. I'm not even paying 1 rupee even electricity rent. That was also given by people. There are 10 machines earlier. I have not bought a single machine for my workshop. There are 12 machines. 10 machines were earlier there. It is there. And 2 machines, two interlock machines we needed because to create the bags, etc. for its quality. And that also we got from another person. And let me tell you how we started Beggars Corporation. There you can see how the people come forward to help you. I believe each and everybody of you might have gone through that small fable type of book of Paulo Coelho, Alchemist. In The Alchemist, there is a famous line. The alchemist is telling Santiago, the small boy, when Santiago is asking him, where is the treasure? Please guide me. And the alchemist is telling that when somebody with core of his heart wants to do something, the whole universe conspires to help him. We call it, sometimes we call that universe as God, sometimes we call it society, sometimes we call it accidental living. So that is how the things happen. When I started talking to the beggars, we talked to so many beggars. They were very cordial to us. First, they were not listening to us, but after that, they became very friendly. We just brought one change in them after 3 months of interaction. That whenever they saw us, they will smile at us, and they will never ask even a single coin from us. But they never agreed to quit begging. They never agreed to quit begging and come. They never agreed. Then there were two volunteers from the said NGO which gave us the building. They were senior people. They were one among them was a lady, another was in his mid 40s. They were experienced. They became fully frustrated. Then I changed the strategy. Instead of talking to the beggars, I started talking to the shops, because the beggars were sitting in front of the shops. We drafted a memorandum for the Prime Minister, and there were three major points that we mentioned there. And in that we asked the shopkeepers to give signatures, bearing only one shopkeeper. All others gave their signatures. All others. The one who didn't give the signature was not that he was not supporting us. He was afraid that it will be sent to Prime Minister and something may happen to him. That's why. Otherwise, all others gave their signatures. And many of them asked us, means while they were signing, they were handing over somebody 100 rupees, somebody 500 rupees to us. We denied. We said, no, we don't need any money from you. Whenever it is required, we will again come back to you. At this moment, we need simply your signatures. And there the thing started. So the thing is that the shopkeepers became aware that yes, number one, the beggars, there can be alternative arrangement for the beggars, number one. Number two, the city space or the roads can be clean and got rid of the beggars. Number three, the pride of the city or the dignity of the city, that our city is not a city of beggars. Our temples are not the epicenter of beggars. So they felt it. And they all came forward, whatever required, they will help. So when we went back to them, now the beggars are producing these bags. They were very happy. Beggars are producing. Let us go and see. They came, they saw, they interacted with the beggars. And those beggars are also delivering the bags. We are not delivering anything. Whether I am here in Lucknow or I am there in Dehradun, every day, on an average, 20,000 rupees will come to our account. On an average, 1,000 to 1,200 bags will be sold. So it's the system. It's Varanasi did it. The society did it. The shopkeepers, the beggars, they all together did it. I was simply a medium. I did nothing. I was simply a medium. So I believe no government is above society. Governments come for 5 years, maybe lesser than that, or maximum 10 years, 15 years. But a society was, society is, and will be for another 1,000 years. Society creates governments. Government does not create societies. So if we come forward, and society, even not society doesn't mean crowd. Crowd is not society. Crowd is something where nobody knows another person. Society means everybody knows the next person. The failure of Indian means, you say it country or nation, whatever it is, that When we failed as a society, we failed as a nation, we failed as an economy, we failed as everything. So we need to build up that society again, that everybody should care about his neighbor. So the way Gandhiji said that if everybody early in the morning sweeps his own backyard, yeah, the road in front of his home, then the whole country will be clean in few hours. Same is the thing. What is market? When I said about market, what is market? Market is not of any industrialist. Market is not of any leader, not of any bureaucrat, not of the government, not of any king. Market is what we spend in our market. If I am going to the market to have tea and paying 10 rupees, then market is enriched by 10 rupees through me. The same thing, we are the customers. So money is ours. What is the fund that we are having in the banks? That is our fund. The bank is ours. The fund in the bank is ours. The market is ours. We are paying there in the market. But the moment we are paying 10 rupees, the system is like that. When we are paying 10 rupees or I am paying 10 rupees, I am becoming poorer by 10 rupees. Somebody is becoming richer by 10 rupees. So we are concentrating or we are centralizing the entire control of the economic system. There lies the mistake. And the smaller cities can be really epicenters of the economic decentralization. One smaller city caters to 400, 500, 1000 villages around it. The villagers depend on that small city for market. City means market. Village means that produces the basic needs. So these two things, if we correlate these things and we enrich or strengthen the smaller cities, then obviously the economy of India will be democratized, will be more equitable, the income disparity that will be less, and each and everybody will have a proportionate control over the market. So that is what is needed. And Varanasi shows us the way. Varanasi shows us the way. We can take it as an example. Unlike other cities, there is a kind of 3000 years of culture, and there is also another addition of spiritualism. These two things are there. When we think of spiritualism, we don't think of greed. We, to some extent, though we have greed, to some extent we think of out of whatever we have earned today, at least to share some part of it with somebody. Yes. So the spiritualism teaches us that.
It's in fact, when you were just talking about, like, one other thing that I just want to mention is that I think the thoughts and the perspective that you've shared makes us feel really happy that we started talking that down, because if not for this conversation, these beautiful, strong and very relevant perspectives on what cities are and what society is, I think they wouldn't come forth. And we really hope that we can use this platform to amplify and take this forward. In fact, about 3 years ago, we were doing a study on reason that why youth leave their cities to study outside and to work outside. And incidentally, I'm from Rishikesh, so we were also looking at Rishikesh as a place. And it was the very similar notion that one of the principals of one of the schools gave us about need versus greed, that even though Rishikesh is not as ancient and continuously lived as Banaras, but it has that history as well, and the idea of spiritualism, and which is deeply seeped into the consciousness. And what he was saying was that because that force lies somewhere subconsciously in the minds of parents and in the minds of even children, that desire to or that greed to run after money is not there as much as it is there in a lot of other places. And it seems like a very, unsubstantiated uh, kind of a claim. But on the face of it, it is not, because you can see that in a lot of the smaller cities, the idea of coming back to your hometown and being or identifying with your city is very strong. And most of our smaller cities, even though they might not be 3,000 years old, but they are, a lot of them are like at least 1,000 years old, and they have people living in there for so many generations. So, but that was just a reflection on what you were talking about. What I want to also ask you in the time that we have is that you talked about the what Banaras, what Varanasi, and what you're doing has shown you that this is possible, that society can actually create such a model. You've just started, and you've already created a workable solution. Uh, how do you foresee? And I'm sure that you're already thinking about it. You already have certain steps that you have in mind to make this into a policy-based solution. What you said that even though government doesn't need to give money, but government can facilitate. So where do you see the interface of this people-led, and as you said, the society has enabled all of this. You are a medium, but for you as a medium, for the society as a whole, how can government, how can policy enable it even more? That right now, from a smaller collective of say few families and few beggars, this can, even if it is only for Banaras right now, how can this model become more? I don't want to use the word scalable, but what I want to ask is that where does government come in? Where can the policy actually facilitate this?
There is a basic, actually, as far as the employment policy is concerned and the challenges of employment policy is concerned, you might have watched that in India till date, we don't have any employment policy. So many governments are coming, even this government, for last 8 years. They're declaring so many schemes that Mudra Yojana, Skill India, so many things are there. But there is not one employment policy. Last year, in November, I was called by the ruling party to their headquarters. Their top leaders at the national level, they had called me. And they asked me, I had two other volunteers with me. And they asked me, first they asked me my idea, etc., etc. Then they asked me, what do you want from us? I said I was not prepared for this question, so I don't know what we want from you. But I know for one thing, very sure, that what we don't want from you. He said, what you don't want? I said, we don't want money from you. Then he asked us, then how will you do this? I said, you have already declared so many schemes, and you are already telling that more than 7.5 lakh crore you have already spent on Mudra schemes. There is RBI, so many schemes you have declared. So why do we take money from you? Those schemes will give us the money. The thing is that despite of those schemes, you are unable to create a model. I gave them some examples. I said that when Prime Minister said that people are engaged in pakoda trade, they are also supporting their families, and the whole nation revolted against him. There were protests like MBA pakoda wala, that I BTech pakoda wala. So there were so many protests. But I do support the Prime Minister. But my question is, the snacks market of India is of 27,000 crore. There are companies like Haldiram, Bikaner of 1,200 crore, 1,400 crore. Give me the example of one single pakoda wala who has been able to go from the street and open his own restaurant, who has been able to send his children to school, What the pakoda wala is doing? He is asking his wife to come and help him there and wash the utensils. He is asking his children to drop to school and come there to serve. We are creating more child workers there. I give another example. You have Skill India. You are giving 3 months, 6 months training, and you are giving them stipend. I don't know what kind of results you are achieving. If you are really achieving any result, then there should not have been any talk of unemployment in the country. But think of the engineers. Go to the AICT website. In the AICT website, you will find never they have crossed 47% placement. To qualify for a government college or any college there, they prepare for 1 year, 2 years. Then they pay a hefty amount. They spend 4 years or 5 years. If they go for integrated MTech, they spend 5 years, 4 years, 5 years. And after that, they don't get jobs. Finally, what they do, the TCS will come, Infosys will come and take them in 15,000, 20,000. One electrical engineer, civil engineer go for that TCS and EF in 15,000 and do that IT job there. So if after 4 years, 5 years of full-fledged study, paying so much of money, one does not qualify to get a job. आपके पास कौन सा जादू का छड़ी है कि 3 महीने में 6 महीने में आप एम्प्लॉयबल कर लें? There lies the lacuna. So these were certain examples I was, and I gave them another example. You have already declared that the startups or the startup companies can open account with zero balance. In the Prime Minister's constituency, there in Varanasi, I called all the banks and gave him the guideline of the RBI. No bank agreed to open account in zero balance. This is the difference. You are creating policies. Those are very good to read in the newspapers or in the gazette notification, but they don't come to the ground. So that is where the lacuna is. There must be a bottom-up approach. Instead of coming means a parachute approach. Our entire economy is a parachute approach. I am not even talking of this government. Let us think of the government earlier. We had very rare opportunity in the whole world that one economist became our Prime Minister, Dr. Manmohan Singh. And during that period also, we got a new term in economy, jobless growth. Earlier, we all knew that when there will be economic growth, there will be jobs. But there was growth, there was no jobs. So we got a new term in economy, jobless growth. Then what kind of economy we are following? The difference is that we are following the economic policies or the economic principles of the countries who are resource rich. They have more resources, they have less manpower. But the countries like China and India, we have more manpower. So our economic policies must be manpower centric, not resource centric. But we are making our economic policies completely resource centric, which we don't have. We don't have resource. We are planning on the basis of a resource, and we are going to World Bank to beg. We have manpower, and we are not counting on them. And no resource can ever turn to economy unless until one manpower comes forward to implement it. So we need one manpower centric, what we say, human economic action design. We say human economic action design. Our entire, we must map the resources. We must map the market potential for next 10 years from the point of view of our manpower.
I think we can conclude, but I just want to ask 2 last questions, and if you can very briefly maybe talk about them. So the last part that you were talking about, like one of the main things that you kind of alluded to, and that is something that you've been working for a long time, is an employment policy.
Right.
And so, and to my question, when I asked that, how does policy kind of relate with this kind of a people-founded model?
Yeah. Employment policy means it needs creation of jobs, and creation of jobs means it is economy. So there is a finance minister, there is a agriculture minister, there is industry minister, there are so many ministers. And how the labor and employment minister can take the lead in creating the employment policy. So I said it must be done from the PMO or the Prime Minister's level. But they had their limitations. So finally, what I did, I gave them a mail with a structure, what should be and how it can be done. I should not divulge more of the things here, but I gave them a clear-cut mail. So the mail is that the gist is that there will be independent body, like RBI is independent body. Employment creation will also be an independent body. It will not be a political body, bureaucratic body. It will be an independent body for 5 years, and it will not just plan. Along with planning, it will also take charge of implementation. Then number two, what the process will be. Earlier to that, in 2018 June, when Rajyavardhan Singh Rathore was minister in Youth Affairs Minister, they had invited me for a talk, and there was a very good discussion, long discussion, and he wanted to implement it. I said, you have two departments, those don't have any work. One is Nehru Yuva Kendra, they don't have any work. Another is NSS, they don't have much work. And even your Youth Affairs Ministry, entire ministry, they have no work. Ashish Singh IRS was the secretary there, and they all accepted. DG of Nehru Yuva Kendra was there, DG of director of NSS was there, they all accepted. So I said, the youth come to the Nehru Yuva Kendra, so you can be catalyst, and NSS operates in every college, so you can be a catalyst for them also. So there was a process that I gave a presentation of a process. In every city, or say every district, every district will take charge of formulating, implementing, and producing a result of employment. How it is? There will be citizen committees, there will be citizen, there are retired people. Retired people have experiences in their field. There are people also, even you will find housewives, educated housewives sitting in homes. They don't have much work to do. So we have lots of idle manpower. They have certain work to do, they can contribute for the society. We have also people from smaller cities or villages, those who are staying outside. So we can create a kind of ecosystem. There will be knowledge bank. The experts will come together to handhold. There will be action cells. So the industries, the corporate bodies, the banks, they can come together for that. So there will be action cells, and there will be community corporates in every city. So in that manner, the whole resources, we have to map the whole resources what they have, how the market is growing, what will be the demand in next 10 years. Ultimately, we are doing that. We are doing that from the perspective of bigger industries. We will be doing that for the smaller cities, or from the perspective of the manpower we have. So we said the change will be just one thing, that it will be human resource based economic planning. What we call as AHET, Advanced Human Economic Action Design. That will be the basis. On the basis of that, these things will be created. And then we said, we don't need to come out from college. We'll study graduation for 3 years, then come out, then take your 3 months, 6 months skill training. If you are giving us some skill training, then while my child is studying graduation, He can take 3-4 courses there. You can have your computer course. You can have social media marketing course. You can have that fitter course, electrical course, whatever course. So 3-4 courses they can do that, and you must interlink it with earn and learn. Earning के साथ साथ let us create a kind of system they can learn and earn also. Learning के साथ साथ they can earn also. So this was the clear-cut model which we have given. So the point is that the districts will prepare the planning. Like you have district level planning boards. In every district, there is a planning board. MP is there, MLAs are there, the municipal corporation mayors or the chairman, chairpersons are there also there. So all these people are there and the collector is heading it. Why we can't involve the society and the citizen? Like the businessmen, like in the Beggars Corporation, we involved the business people, the business community, and both the business community, the established shops and those in pottery business, the street vendors. We also involved them. We involved the priests, and you will be astonished that when I say about this kind of creating a kind of social system, I am giving you another example. And that was the example of Beggars Corporation. In July, August, in the Saban ke Mahina, we launched a program called, we launched a project called Punya. We thought there are people in different parts of the country who want to come in the holy month of Saban कि थोड़ा गंगा जी के जल में जलाभिषेक करेंगे, but they are unable to come. So Beggars Corporation became the catalyst for them. So we gave a call to the people. You can deposit 2,500 rupees, and in that 2,500 rupees, every day there will be Jalabhisek before sunrise. Before sunrise, there will be Jalabhisek. So how the system was? The system was the beggars will supply belpata, flower, etc. The doob, ye wo so sare hota hai, jo grass. So all these things the beggars will supply. Our volunteers, they will select the belpata, etc. and carry it, and then go to Ganga, Ma Ganga, and wahi se Ganga jal lenge. And in the temple, there will be the Purohit. So the beggars, our volunteers, and the Pandit there. And the Pandit usme Jalabhisek karenge with that Mahamrityunjaya mantra. So there will be they will chant Mahamrityunjaya mantra for every person. उनका लिस्ट दिया गया है, गोत्र वगैरह सबके साथ किया गया. एंड हमने एक टारगेट रखे थे कि 100 में हम उसको कंप्लीट करेंगे. But there were 110 people in less than 20 days deposited money for that. So if there can be a coordination between the beggars and the pandits, then why we cannot create such kind of social coordination in all the cities? We can create it. And ultimately, we are not taking away anybody's money. We are taking control of our market. What is market? I always tell one thing. If you ask me that what is the solution to the unemployment problem of India, there is simply one solution. The moment we think we are a voter, then there is a problem. The moment we think we are a customer, there is a problem. So we are telling people, don't be a customer, don't be a voter, be a citizen. Be a citizen first. When we become a citizen, we have rights 24/7, 365 days. So we must be the citizens first. The moment we become citizens, we think of the society, we think of our cities, we think of future of our children, we think of our nation. Then ultimately, it is our responsibility.
I think that's so.
We need that.
Well said. I think you gave another dimension to the way we thought about Nagrik, because I think the underlying thought behind naming Nagrik was the very thought that you just echoed. So it's great to hear what you just shared. So thanks so
Yeah,
much for
yeah.
sharing that. And now, if you could maybe briefly share
Thank you.
the message
Yeah.
for other organizations, your learnings, and what you would like to say to people who want to do something similar that you are doing. And we can conclude with that. Yeah.
The message is very clear. The message is very clear. Everybody cannot do everything. We all know it. But everybody can do something. When we say that everybody cannot do everything, we ignore that everybody can do something. So that something is a dot. And every line is a combination of dots. That's why it is society. So how we can combine these things for a particular purpose and make it strategically work, create a kind of system which will take care of itself. Then only we can see the things. And when you say that society is no way different from economy, difference is need and greed. And we created civilization. All these things came from the need and greed. Probably 10 years, 15 years back. I don't know whether Onida TV is still there or not. At that time, there were coming Onida TV ads. And a demon will come. And that demon will say that neighbor's envy, owner's pride. There the society fails. When we envy our neighbor, then only our society fails. In the smaller cities, we don't have that much of complexity. So I say, or I feel, only smaller cities can create or rebuild the nation.
Thanks for reaffirming the faith in the possibility that smaller cities present. And we wish you all the best in continuing with the mission that you have begun in Varanasi, in Banaras, and in Kashi. And I would say that they're all three different cities. So I'm sure it will work in three different ways for all those three cities. And we look forward to being in touch and knowing more as you progress and as you move forward. Our best wishes, and we will try our best in trying to fulfill the mission that we have as Nagrik, as a platform for creating knowledge that can enable citizens. And we will take this voice and this message of yours as far as possible. Thanks again for coming here.
Thank you. Thank you. It was an enriching interaction. Thank you. Thank you.